When you gave me that feedback yesterday about when I try to have them do it again, but I use the term, "Oh, this is weak. You can do better," and replace it by, "I know you can do so much better than that."
Right.
The power of that is, you're right, like showing them the potential of turning it around. And what you're saying is very similar with the narration, because you're saying, well, if I already say I'm waiting on 2 or 3, I'm kind of setting the tone that there are people not doing the right thing.
And they know they're not.
And they know they're not. So they are the attention getter. But now I'm adding something before that where really the attention is on the people tracking.
And I've noticed that when I started saying who was tracking me, I see more heads turning completely to track me. And it was it wasn't funny, but I was just like, this works.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Like, this works.
Yeah.
Like,
and in the morning,
I've noticed it.
And in the morning, I don't know if you saw it, and because they like me less than they like you, right? But when I'm doing mine, which you do yours, I think, after the cat signal, whereas I build mine into the countdown.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you noticed in the morning when I would say pencil down, and I would name a couple of students with their pencil down, or when I would say tracking me and name a student, then you see the people turning too. So that's really
I seen that with
powerful.
You this morning.
What about the one related to the transition and the computer piece? So like going to cats and not touching the computer.
I think I need more practice with that, because it was the first time I'm adding that MVP in with the transition. I don't believe that I was strong with that today, because it's the first time I'm doing it. But I believe that I like that, because you still got the scholars still reaching for the computer, or they're reaching for the headsets. So I want to push myself to make sure that MVP is strong when I'm doing transition.
Okay, well, that's going to be your first deliverable. Yep. Then. Okay, first deliverable is continuing or pushing you, like you said, with the practice of that new MVP for transition to blended learning, stressing the importance of not touching the computer and waiting for the next direction. So that means practicing saying it, and then practicing the narration that go with it, so it can become natural as you go there. I think it's really good. And today was just the first day. And mistake we often make with coaching is we go away from practice too early until it has really become a habit.
Yeah, I think because we did it, we put it
right
put it in just this morning, so I didn't have practice.
No.
In the scholars,
I mean, we practiced in the pre-comp, but that was not enough.
Right.
You're absolutely right. So let's do that. Let's focus on that for next week. That'll be our first one, and we're gonna add a second one because you're strong enough for two. So let me ask you this question.
You mean the third one? Because we already did two.
What was the
second? We did the tracking.
You're right.
And we did the don't touch anything. Right. So it's three.
Continuing with the practice of the MVP will transition to blended learning and tracking. You're right. So that these two that we started practicing today, we're going to continue. Does that mean you want me to stop?
No. If you want me to try another one, I'm for it.
I do think you're strong enough.
Okay.
I do think you're strong enough. Okay. And now I'm saying this really. That I have the highest confidence in the world. How could I not? Right? You two groups that were at a certain level of proficiency, you raised each of them by 20 points in about 2 months. Right?
Me and you.
Yeah, but you. You. Right? Because so I have the highest confidence in the world. So if I want to get you to the next level, we're going to push a little more.
Okay.
So the question I'd like to ask you is the following. Behind these two stories today of like the tracking and you saying this and the doing that new procedure and giving that extra direction, there is a little bit of a morale of that story, and we're going to try to get to it together. Basically, what are we trying to do by adding this little piece? What are we trying to do?
We're continuing to keep our culture strong.
By doing what? In which way this can keep our culture strong?
It can allow us to have a stronger classroom, stronger instruction, stronger. I mean, even if it could really help me with my content go smoother if my scholars are doing the expectations, listening to the MVPs.
So let's go back. Yeah. So let's go back to what you said earlier, which I think was really good. When you said, by doing this, I'm not bringing the attention right away to the one or two we're waiting on. Right. Instead, I'm bringing it to all the momentum that is being built. And so then they can fix themselves if they do
Right.
want. You remember that
Yes.
point you made?
Yes.
So now I think what we need to do is identify together an area where it is harder for you to narrate. And try to think about why maybe, but also mostly set some goals for yourself so that you can do it more. So where do you see moments where maybe you will go directly from MVP to correction?
Honestly, well, right now I just think it'll be harder when I'm doing face to face and the scholars are on the Chromebooks
It's
because I
possible.
can't watch them, but I'm not fully focused on the Chromebooks because I'm more focused on face to face. That will probably be a little harder. But as you told me earlier, when you were giving me live coaching, when I was having the scholars give them 3 minutes to do their do now or whatever they was doing, you said now go check on the online group. Make sure they're taking notes.
So
make sure they're pacing.
Yes.
You know, so
So building the time to
and I wasn't always doing. I would go, but I wasn't really actually saying nice notes. You're taking good notes, or I like the way you're. I didn't do that, but today when you had lifetime. I mean, when you do coaching with me, I was like, okay, this can work because now I could see Jeffrey taking notes, or look.
Whereas in the past, what would have happened maybe?
They would just be doing whatever. And
well,
not
they,
really.
you know what? To be honest with you, they weren't. Most of them weren't because the culture is strong.
Yeah.
But think about you though. What could have happened in you if you hadn't done that, like from that place of like visiting, proactively being positive? What could have happened the one time you went there and maybe you didn't see the notes?
I wouldn't know. No,
but what do you think you would have gone to right away?
Oh, consequence.
Yeah.
You know me so well.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. So basically what I see in your practice right now is every moment when you jump directly to correction or consequence is usually because you haven't yet built the habit of being intentional about the building the culture and the narrating. Okay? So you name a great example here. The visits of the online learning station with the purpose of like stressing the journals out, like we did. We narrated that, and at first before cracking down on it. Okay, I'll give you another example. Transition lines. As soon as you're outside of this classroom, it changes. It changes. I know you well. It changes. So, and I'm be curious to hear why. And I'm wondering if you're influenced by the environment around, like maybe wondering what other people are going to think of your line. Or if Alexander is going to say something to your line, or if JT is going to be watching what we do, and you really want that to be perfect. But I usually hear less narration in your transition in line than I do in the class. Yeah. Does that seem like a valid point?
No, it is a valid point because I don't. I mean, I'm guilty of that, and I don't know why I don't. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why I don't. I might say everybody facing forward. No, I really don't do narrations.
Yeah. Yeah, and today I actually gave you a prompt, a little cue in the hall.
Yeah, you did, and I don't, and I'm guilty of that, and that's something I can work on.
I think so, and I think you're strong enough to take that one on.
Oh, that's I could do that.
Yeah,
the other ones are harder than that.
So what could be interesting, what could be interesting would be to kind of dive a little deeper into the why. But if you're telling me right now you want to take it on, knowing you, I know you're going to take it on.
I do.
And so there's no point really in doing over analysis at this point. I think personally, for me, sometimes when I go outside, I think too much about what other people are going to think. So it makes me become a lot stricter and a lot straighter to the point. So almost to the point of it's like, you know what? Like, so let's say I'm sending my class out. Right? I'm expecting them to be perfect. They shouldn't by now. Sending them out, they're going, but then they get to a checkpoint and maybe a couple were talking and JT's there or somebody's there pausing and waiting for them. And they have to redirect them. Then I'm coming and I'm pissed because I like to be perfect.
I don't like to be perfect.
No, but I like my kids to represent me well.
Right.
And then when they don't, then I'd be like, So sometimes I think the outside presence of other people who might has an impact on me personally. But regardless, I think it's important for us to choose this name. If your kids respond well to narration, they respond well to it anywhere.
No, I don't think it's that. I think that when they leave, I'm expecting them to be in a straight line. I'm expecting them to not
Yeah, so I-
talking.
So
But
I think
if
we're
I
getting
do
somewhere
add,
there.
if I do add that narration, it might take some of that away because I'm expecting too much from them, seeing that they do it in here, but I don't narrate out there, and I see that, I really do. And
So I think
don't know why
I
do
think that's
that.
a really important moment for
Yeah,
you
I
to
don't-
reflect on. Well, I think
really don't know why.
no. So I think when we have the highest expectation
Mm-hmm.
for them, sometimes they disappoint us.
Right,
Sometimes they let us down.
and sometimes they do.
Sometimes they do. And I think it's really hard when you're disappointed
Mm-hmm.
to still celebrate the positive,
Right.
right? And so in some